Right, welcome back to the final section of Mind Hacks for Difficult Situations, Strengthening Your Resilience. Now, the last section was on authenticity. I gave you those 5 hacks: attachment, atonement, attunement, presence, and congruence. And they're all going to add up to making you more resilient. The more that you can show up in an authentic manner in the present situation without your fears and prejudices, the more you're going to be resilient. And for me, it's good to think of resilience like we think about happiness. You can't aim for it. You can just create the preconditions that keep you at the high end of both your happiness spectrum as well as your resilience spectrum. Like, you want to be physically healthy. You want to eat the right foods, get the right sleep, interact with people in a loving way. So all of those things will add up to resilience and strengthening your resilience. So, in the end, it's going to feel like what the Buddhists call beginner's mind. It's a very interesting and beautiful concept. Like approaching, let's say, an artwork that you've seen 100 times, but seeing it anew, seeing it afresh. And T.S. Eliot, he famously said this much more eloquently than I could ever say it. In the Four Quartets, he writes, "We shall not cease from exploration. And the end of all of our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time." I once heard this story by Sting. Who wrote Roxanne. I think it was like 1977. So it's quite a long time ago. And it's obviously a classic, and people just love to hear him play it. And if you've been playing a song probably, let's say, 250 nights a year for 40 or 50 years, how does that work? And I heard him say, I have to pretend that I wrote the song that afternoon every time that I play it. And I thought that was beautiful, right? And so the next time you listen to a song, think of it as the first time you ever heard it. Or the next time you go running, think of it as the first time you ever have gone running, right? That is beginner's mind, and it's something that we need to cultivate. So authenticity is a great way of showing up afresh, anew, authentic, having beginner's mind. And now I'll talk a little bit about autonomy. So most of us don't work in coal mines for 17 hours a day. We were able to show up and decide, who we want to be. That in the history of humanity, that is an incredible privilege to have our own autonomy. Sartre has this beautiful line where he says that man is confronted by his freedom. So it's fascinating to me to work with people and figure out the level of structure they need in their lives, because that creates resilience, right? If you have to work in a coal mine or in the Foxconn factory for 90 hours a week, doing your same little chore, that's equivalent to torture, right? You weren't put on earth to be someplace just doing that thing 90 hours a week, like a lot of people in a lot of countries have to do. So if you are in a first world country like we are, cherishing your ability to make decisions of what you want to put in your body, what you want to watch, what you want, where you want to go, your autonomy, that cultivates resilience because you can make healthy long-term decisions. Okay? And the next part is agency. So agency is the ability to exert action. And, when human beings or animals are constrained, people are in cages, they act out on themselves just to have agency. If you think about why some people cut or do bad things, and if you think about it, it's to have agency, to just be able to do something, even if it's self-harm. Because agency is really, really important, the ability to exert agency, right? And the hack for us is to be proactive in our lives and not reactive. I've gone through it in several sections how reactivity, most of our reactions are maladaptive. We show up in a way that is not in our best interest. So we have to learn how to show up in a way and decide who we want to be and proactively have tools to be that person. So what are you going to leave this little workshop with, right? You're either going to leave this workshop with results or excuses, right? In my classes where I teach live, I'll give you a whole list of results that you could leave with, which are just tools or hacks, whatever you want to call them, right? Just different ways of being, changes, and change is hard. And most people will just opt for the excuses, right? You'll denigrate something I said. You'll find some flaw. You won't like my glasses. You won't like my hair. You won't like the lighting, right? Super easy. Have at it, right? But if you really want to change, you have to say, no, I want results. I want to change, right? We have to be the change that we want to see in the world. We can't kick the can down the road any further and wait for things to happen that are positive. We are the ones we have been waiting for, Alice Walker famously said. Again, it's up to us, right? Who we want to be. It's a privilege to decide that. And you have to make the right decisions. And if that doesn't inspire you, I hope that this little quote does. Somebody once told me the definition of hell. On your last day on earth, the person you became will meet the person you could have become, right?